everybody, and we back, man. It's your boy Adrian, your boy Bobby, and as always, Creative Notice Podcast, man. You see that banner? Congratulations to Michigan. They embarrassed Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, blue, baby. Oh,
yeah. Good game. So today's topic, we got some good ones going for you. Got the college football week 12 reaction. We got some new coaching hires, some big names. One's coming back. NFL recap, conference championship game predictions, and then we got some Heisman odds updates, man, because C.J. Stroud is not that guy. But let's go ahead and dive into it. So, again, college football week 12 was a big one. A lot of upsets, a lot of good games. Some players punching their tickets. You got for the Heisman, you got a lot of teams putting their name and their team on the back to get themselves for the playoff. The playoff is going to be real big. We might really get some big shockers going on right about now, man, because this is looking real good. I can't wait to see the college football playoff rankings that come out tomorrow. I really hope the committee does justice, but I just know they won't. It's gonna be some bias going on there. But we're gonna go ahead and dive into it, man. Starting off with the first little crumb games, which they were. Zoom in a little bit real quick so we can go ahead and get into this before we start. Getting them heart rates back up.
I tell you what, this is a great way to introduce you into college football. I was telling you off there, first time. I said it in the chat. I said, man, this is the first time I got hyped about college football. And it just wasn't the Michigan game; it was just all the games. So now it's
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start off with it. Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, the good old Egg Bowl, man. And this one was another good. This was a good one, man. This is what makes the Egg Bowl so epic. I don't think if nobody really knows the real true history of the Egg Bowl, the Egg Bowl is what you see. A 24-22, good shootout. I know it wasn't like a big score because, Lane Kiffin and I forgot the head coach of that Mississippi State team, but they're both spread. He started the Mississippi State head coach started off at Texas Tech, wound himself up at Washington State. Washington State for a long time with that spread offense. Then he comes down to Mississippi State, and then you got Lane Kiffin doing his thing. So this right here, 24-22, you can't go wrong. Yes, Ole Miss lost, but the good thing for Ole Miss, they are getting Lane Kiffin back. The whole thing about him either going to Auburn, he turned down the Auburn deal. It's a whole fiasco, but he's coming back. Yes, he lost to Mississippi State, but Mississippi State is not a bad team. Defensively, they're not a bad team. They're not a great team, but they're not a bad team. And defensively wise, man, they can do their thing. So shout out to the Ed Bowl for holding up his honors and doing his thing. Let's keep it moving. I really do wish Jeff was on here, boy, because them Florida Gators gave up a decent fight against Florida State. I don't know if you get to catch that game.
Yeah, I did. Yep, this was another good game.
Yeah, that was a good game, man.
Jordan
Travis. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know. Etienne is that his brother? Are they related?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another good game.
And he's a freshman, so he's gonna be around for at least another 2 more years. So he's gonna be trouble. He's gonna be trouble for a lot of teams that beat him. A lot of teams that beat Florida. You got a lot of freshmen that's coming back. They're going to be around. So you're going to have some good games even going to next year. But this game was good. Jordan Travis looked real good, man. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that he's not up for for the Heisman talks. But he's did real good quarterback wise, man. Is he like a legitimate, starter for the NFL? I don't think so. He'll be a good maybe 4th round draft pick, maybe 5th. But he did, man. But he put FSU in his bag. That game was good. That was a good game, man. I remember I was watching and I was with my family, man. And there's a family with my family, man. He loves some Florida Gators, man. And one of the things that killed Florida is the third quarters, which he did point out. They cannot hold up in the third quarter. They drop off like flies, man. They just start dying. And they crumble. And that's what happened in the third quarter for him, man. This was good. Anthony Richards did his thing. But Anthony Richards, you never know what you get at a the AR-15, man. You never know what you're going to get. You either going to get a stellar performance like what he did against Tennessee and Utah, or you get this. What are you looking at there, Ghost? You don't know what he's looking at. So, but that was a good game, man. That was a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah, that was a good one, man. This is why I like college football, man, because you don't like this rivalry week. Rivalry weekend was good. Some of them were spoilers, but this one was a good one. These were some good rivalry weekend games, man. North Carolina State versus North Carolina, another good one. Overtime, two times, two overtime, and mind you, North Carolina does not have their original starter. The original
Yeah.
starter at quarterback. Leary is out. I think he's injured. I know he's out for the season, but he's just injured. But this right here was epic. Overtime, two overtimes. Man, you
Another
gotta
one I
love
watched. Yeah, another one I
that was a
watched.
good one. So what
Yeah.
stood out for you on that game?
Um, Defense. And another one that I watched. Well, look, but the one thing that the quarterback that's in the Heisman running. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. I forgot his name too. He done got knocked out anyway.
Huh?
I said he done got knocked out of that race anyways.
Yeah, he's out. He's out, man. And I was running so hard for him, man. But I tell y'all this, like now, well, let's stick to it. But yeah, let me,
Drake May. Drake May is his name.
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Man, I just, it was like it was a really good game. Hold on. Trying to go to the roster. I want to pull up. I was trying to pull up the stats for that game. Here we go, right here. 29 of 4, yeah, 29 of 49. So what, about 59 completion for one touchdown, one interception. He didn't look the best. QBR rating was 6. And like you said, it was impressive. Especially when you see that man quarterback got in, right? North Carolina State.
Yeah.
But nah, man, to me it was a good game.
Yeah, it held up to it held up to his weight, which I did like. I was glad for what it did. It turned out good. Like I said, Drake Mays, I think the Heisman talk, like I was on it for him as well, but it fell off so quick. I think once he started realizing everybody started noticing him, he started trying to chase that Heisman odds instead of trying to win the game with his team. He started chasing that Heisman odds, started making mistakes, throwing more interceptions than he usually will, than he usually does. After that, and then they lost to Georgia Tech before that. So they lose to Georgia Tech, and then they lose to North Carolina State. So, to end the season with 2 losses it's just, it's another stump for North Carolina because North Carolina, I think everybody had North Carolina painted to be, somewhere at least in the top 10 coming towards the end of the season because they got a good defense. Well, I'm gonna say they actually got a very good defense. Good defensive line. They right up there in that front. That secondary is not really that bad. They got a real good 5-star cornerback. I forgot his name, but he enrolled early. He graduated. He was eligible to change recruiting classes and graduate high school earlier and go to North Carolina start early. So he already has a foot up. So I just think everybody really thought they were going to, do a lot more, especially nobody really knew if Drake Mays was going to be that guy, try to follow up behind Sam Howell, but he's actually surpassing Sam Howell. The good thing is that they get Drake May back for another year. So that, the next year will be that year that will really help him solidify his stamp that if he's going to be that so-called Heisman, because a lot of the quarterbacks that are in the racing now are pretty much gone. I think Caleb Williams has another year to come back, but CJ Stroud be gone, Bryce Young will be gone most likely, Will Levis will be gone, Stetson Bennett will be gone. A lot of quarterbacks that's in, even a running back, which we get into them with Michigan, he'll be gone as well. Corman, he will be gone. So we'll see. I just think North Carolina was a very big letdown for a lot of analysts and a lot of fans. It was a letdown season for them. Yes, they're currently ranked 17. They won't be ranked there after the new college football playoff rankings come out. But still a good game. It was a hard fought game. Yes, you lost 30-27, but it was a hard fought game.
That's a good observation. That's kind of what you said about Drake May. As far as playing for himself, as far as instead of the team, that was kind of what it was when I saw him. Because honestly, I watched him, but not like I did Saturday, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like his numbers, everything he's put up through the whole year didn't seem like what it was when he played in that game, especially when he was on the Tech too. So I think he was getting serious consideration for the Heisman, like you said. That's a good observation.
He'll definitely be considered next year.
Yeah, good
moving forward, you got the UCLA versus Cal. I'm not surprised UCLA won this one. It's a good bounce back. They kept it a little bit too close, but I'm not surprised UCLA won that one. Tulane versus Cincinnati. Raw Tulane solidified themselves on that one. Cincinnati's leaving that conference anyways. They're going to the Big 12, so I don't think it really matters at this point. Baylor and Texas. Texas beat Baylor 38-27. Which I'm not surprised. Texas is another disappointing season. They are not back. I'm telling everybody this. Texas is not back. They got a lot of rebuilding to do. If anybody understand what Tom Herm left it, and before him, I think was Charlie Strong left it before him. There's a lot of rebuilding going on with Texas. So it's not a reloading. They're in a rebuilding process. They still don't have the defense that they need to be able to compete at the level that university is asking for. And the bad part about it, Texas is coming to Oklahoma. Texas and Oklahoma are coming to the SEC. So they're really going to have to hurry up and get this thing turned around real soon because, coming to the SEC, man, you can get left off in the dust real fast. And you don't want that to happen. But, Texas did their thing. They bounced back. I still just feel like this is like a very big letdown. The one big key to them for what I do like and I will miss is Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson, he will be missed. He might come back. I don't know. But if I'm Bijan Robinson, I'm going to the NFL. Yeah, he's an elite. Yeah, he's an elite running back. He's elite. Yeah. We ain't got to cover some of these other games. Let's go ahead and keep on. I'm not covering these other games. Nah, negative.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not. Let's keep this thing rolling. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the nitty gritty. So we're gonna fly past this. So Georgia Tech, Georgia won 37-14. I think everybody knew that. It looked like it was going to be a scared early. Georgia Tech got up 7-0. I'm watching it. Georgia goes to the second half, 10-7, winning, and then next after that it was a disaster. Then it just went up 37-14.
Yeah. I know. It was like 10-7. It was 10-7, right?
Yeah, it was 10-7 in the second half. I mean, the first half. You go into halftime, you come out, and the score just go bloop. All right, 37-14. Easy, just like that. And that last touchdown they got was like 5 minutes left in the game, and they got a touchdown. It was like it was done, but it was pointless. I mean, Georgia did their thing. They did what they're supposed to do to an inferior team, and that's what they did. They beat them. Georgia Tech just not on the same level as Georgia. I don't think Georgia's in a rebuild. Georgia's just in a, what are we going to do for the next 10 years? They're in that kind of situation. But let's go ahead and get to the main event, man. Let's get to this main event.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So real quick, tell me what you think about this game. Tell me what you thought about this game, man, and what were some of the big things that you took away from this game? And I'll let you know from my point.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so again, I think when we talked about a little bit off air, but man, I was really, really impressed with JJ. You know, they were this all season running, running. They've been running all over everybody. Even Edwards, even though Edwards had that 85-yard run touchdown that pretty much sealed the game, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he was running too. This was Blake. I was
Yeah.
nervous. I was nervous last week when he hurt his knee. I was like, damn. Why you got hurt your knee? But right before the Ohio State game, and shout out to him. You know, he's a warrior too because he, having any type of knee injury as a running back, your primary is to run the ball and groove. You know, you're gonna get hit in that
Mm-hmm.
knee. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
He tried to come onto the field, but he just couldn't make it happen. But Edwards stepped up, man, and really JJ as well. Look, Edward had 216 yards. I think JJ was like a 240, 230, something like that. Um, not a. You know what? Three touchdowns. If you look at his stats, it is impressive compared to his. You know what? You compare his games all year. You usually JJ, but I've been following him. He has about 100 yards, one touchdown. You know, he's efficient. But this game, I think this game, not only did he garner the respect of the nation, but I think now he's grown. He is now at that star level. Not superstar, not
Mm-hmm.
superstar, but he played up to the competition. Um, it was almost like the one thing I did notice about Ohio State is like in the first half, that they were they're, I don't know, man. You know what this reminded me of, and no, ain't no shame to this is not a shot at you and your Falcons. This reminded me of the Falcons in the Patriots game where the Falcons got gas. That's when they lost because remember,
Yeah.
like the first 3-4 quarters, man, they was all over the Patriots. Right, young,
Mm-hmm.
hungry. That would have felt like with Ohio State. But then it's everything because everything opened up. It just
Mm-hmm.
like Ohio State got gas. You know, they just got worn out. CJ Stroud, I'm so I don't know what to say. He's how old is he? Whatever he is, I hate to say the demise of a brother too as well, but
Uh-huh.
I just haven't seen it. Um, I, I tried to argue the case when we talked about the Heisman odds a couple weeks ago. I
Yeah.
didn't think he deserved to win the Heisman, but I know you said he's in the SEC, playing against competition. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Michigan. It's not in the SEC, and you got somebody that JJ is coming in. He's playing up to the competition.
Yeah.
I think this was just a hell of a game, man. Like JJ, Tim Harbaugh, uh, executing the game plan. I was listening, like I said, like I was telling you, I was listening to a lot of saying about how he's changed his program, and
Mm-hmm.
his big brother was a big part of him changing a little bit of his philosophy.
Yeah.
Old smash football, man, run the damn ball.
Yeah.
Your guy against my guy, still wins, So no, this was a hell of a game, man. JJ's officially a star now. And you know what it is? One of the things I like about this game is, I think I did say this a couple weeks ago. They're a fully all around. They're the most fully fundamental team. They're good on special teams. They've been I can't say great on offense as far as
Mm-hmm.
besides they've been running. The passing has been their Achilles heel. But
Mm-hmm.
still in their defense, it's not like it's not nothing to be feared, but like all phases of the game are to be respected, man. So this is gonna be a problem, man. It's gonna be a problem. Hey, it's gonna be a problem. It'll be a problem. I'm just happy we got to Ohio State. I don't want to hear nothing else about tough ass schedule. I don't want to hear nothing else about SEC. I don't want to hear none of that. I wish that was on the podcast too. We played, we came, we saw, we conquered. But it was a good game though. Seriously, it was a good game. The whole game was good, even though the score was 45-23. But it was
Mm-hmm.
tight the first half. It was tight.
Yeah.
And I think JJ was nervous, man, because I think the first 7 passes, he was 2 for 7. 2 for 7,
Mm-hmm.
7, something like that. And because they had him shook. The defense had them shook, and they was because that Ohio State defense is so damn athletic. I'll give them that. Young and athletic and hungry. So that what I started noticing is that they were making the play outside. Every time they were throwing the ball to the far right, far left, straight on them. I felt like we went to halftime, we made some adjustments, but I also felt like that Michigan's D made the right stop at the right time. It wasn't dominant. It just made the right stops at the right time. And Jim talked about it. It was almost like the first thing he said was, "Shout out to me." He was like, "We just want to hold." He said, "We knew if we just hold them, that's a win. That we want to hold them, get a stop." And that's what they did. It's like I said, a potential Heisman winner, not no more. And yeah, man, how was it? Hey, man, we came up in there and stomped out their house. It shouldn't even be in the playoffs, man. Like, nah, you don't let nobody come to your house like that. Like, we came in there, shit, and we didn't wipe. So, no blue, baby.
You know what, and I agree with you on all that, man. I agree. Like, Michigan out physical Ohio State on all levels, man. From offense, defense, and special teams, they just out physical Ohio State. Simply, that's what they did. They just manhandled Ohio State. And like you said, it was old school smash mouth, run the damn ball down your throat, and Ohio State could not answer it. It was just. And it wasn't like they were stopping them and getting them just like 2 or 3. I mean, they were running 4 yards per carry, 5 yards per carry. And I think those last 2 gaseous runs that killed them. I mean, Donovan Everett had a game. And we just not even talking about what the wide receivers did. I mean, they was just explosive plays after explosive plays after explosive plays, exploited Ohio State. And it made Ohio State have to kind of re-answer to, can we re-answer with another run game? And they couldn't because they were depleted. They were depleted at running back.
Yep.
Ohio State, I mean, yes, injuries is injuries, and you can't use that for no excuse. And they just can't, because you still got real good wide receivers. And Marvin Harrison is nasty.
Hey, I'll tell you
He's
this.
nasty. Hey,
he is. Nah, he's a beast. Nah, he put a couple of moves on some of those defenders, man. Like, it was. I don't know if it was moves. He just burnt him.
Yeah,
it just burnt him. But yeah, you're right.
Ibuka had 9 receptions, 125 yards, and a touchdown. Harrison Jr. 7 receptions, 120 yards, and 1 touchdown. Average 17.1 yards a catch. Like, if I put it this way, if Ohio State didn't have those receivers, this game would have been even worse.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. It would have been. It would have been worse. It probably would have been 45-3. Look, they did their part. Like, and CJ Stroud just looks so. I mean, 2 interceptions is definitely not going to win you the game. He did not show up. That's what I said, man. And that's what I said, like, in our last podcast. That's what I was saying. Like, the only way CJ Stroud cannot get it if he loses it. And he lost it. There was no other way for him not to get the Heisman Trophy. Even if he all he had to do was come out here, play a good game, no interceptions, win. Even if they would have won the game by 3 points, that's all he needed. And he pretty much would have solidified himself at New York to win the trophy. He doesn't have nothing to work with. He doesn't have nothing he can go back on the field and put some more tape out on the field. He doesn't have nothing. The only thing that Ohio State have left is to sit back and see what the playoff committee has to say, see where they put them at, and hope that everybody that's in their conference championship loses bad. And that's what they're counting on at this point, because Ohio State just got, man, I don't care nobody say, they got beat up. They got beat up. They got bullied. They got told what to do. It's just it was just, and this is the second year in a row. It's not like this is the first. It's not like this. They did this. The same thing happened to them when they went to Michigan. Yeah. And you can't sit here and say, "Oh, it was weather conditions." It was 12 o'clock noon, bright sunny skies. Yeah. It was fine. Like, the same thing that Michigan did to them last year. play run, smash mouth football, running the ball, and we're gonna play some very physical defensive playing. That's what Michigan did to them.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the same thing. And and this is why, and that's what we said off air was this is where I think this game. Look, Ryan Day is not gonna get fired from this game. But I promise you this: the offseason, his seat is warming up. I can promise you that. His seat is warming up. This is the second year in a row.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I watched the game, and again, please correct my wrong age with Ohio State. But I just didn't see. Again, the first half I saw it, but I didn't really see, besides Harrison and
And Buka.
Abuka,
Yeah, and Buka. Yeah.
I didn't see any other standouts. Where the hell was the running game?
They don't have see, and that's what killed him. Like they have, Traham, but he isn't their original starter. All their starters is out, so all their starting running backs is out. But that's no excuse. Like you're Ohio State, you recruit these running backs for a reason. These aren't low 3-star, 2-star running backs. These are high 4-star, 5-star running backs. You recruited these running backs. You recruited these talented offensive linemen. Your defensive lineman, what's his name? The Hawaiian, I forgot his name, and Jack Sawyer. You got a great defensive front lineman and a good defensive end rusher.
Yeah.
And Jim knows he is a great defensive player, a defensive coordinator. He did a hell of a job. They paying this man $2 million to come there to help their defense out because their defense could not play straight.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him because all year round the defense has been showing up. This one, I just think the defense got gassed out. I really do feel as if that running over and over and over again gassed them. I think that was just it got brutal. I don't think the defense laid too many eggs. I mean, now they were arm tackling.
Yeah.
They was out there trying to act like they were trying to tackle, toilet paper.
Yeah.
But I just think that front four got gas. I think that for real. Did you see that? You didn't watch, man? I watched. It was on both of them, on both of those deep passes.
Yeah.
The cornerback, man, what he did, the cornerback for Ohio State, to let that player get open, and the wide receiver from Michigan, I forgot his name, but he was like an in and out route, a straight go in and out route, in and then out. And the cornerback, why would you turn your hips and turn your back? You don't turn your back. But he was turning his hips too much, and it just had him. He had to rearrange. So he was turning around, thinking that the wide receiver was going to keep going whichever way, right. But he ended up cutting it in and out and went to the left, and then boom, wide open. And then when they had the opportunity to tackle, they just arm tackle. That's what it seems like they're trying to tackle toilet paper. What are you trying to hit? You're not hitting nothing. But this was a good game. I'm glad this game held up to its end. A lot of games held up to the end this weekend, but this one was one I was excited about. I was like, man, I am glad it went down this way. I didn't really care who won, but if it went down this way, it could have went both ways. I didn't give it that. It just is what you like. But Michigan manhandled Ohio State twice in a row. And the bad thing about it, if Michigan continues and let's say Michigan beats up on Purdue, gets to the playoff, and let's say Michigan gets to the championship, and regardless of they win and lose, this right here is momentum and recruiting pitch. Hell, Ohio State had 2 recruits there for that game to see them play. After that game, those 2 Ohio State recruits that came to watch that game committed to Michigan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just even worse. It just
think about that from that aspect. Holy crap. Yeah. But you know what? Yeah. Damn, well, you just got to put my mind. Because the thing is, all these games are audition. These are auditions for the next year as well.
Yeah.
These games, the coach can sit down and, come to your house and sit down and say, hey, look, so we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
You see the game plan that we're running, I think you would fit perfect in our scheme. You know? Holy, okay. I didn't even think about it like that, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah.
So you know the fans is mad and the boosters is pissed. We don't pay for these recruits to come here and watch us get beat up at our home, and then they're gonna commit to our rivalry. Oh man, that's what I'm saying. Ryan Day's seat. He's not on the hot seat. He won't get fired. He won't get fired next year. and he might not get far to fight, but I'm telling you, man, to let them have another loss to Michigan like this, lose another game like this to Michigan, because they got to go to Michigan next year. So lose to Michigan and let another loss like this happen in Michigan, and you get embarrassed again and get manhandled again. I'm telling you, man, Ryan Day won't be there long.
Let's be honest about Ohio State. Last two games haven't been impressive. I'm not.
No, I agree with you
This
because
has,
they struggled. They struggled with Maryland.
yeah, they
They
did.
struggled bad.
So,
They struggled bad, and they got away with that. They got away with that flag. Like,
yeah,
if refs call that as a pass interference, and it wasn't a pass interference.
yeah. Because at some point, I mean, they're undefeated and they deserve that record.
Yeah, they
If
ain't
you beat
undefeated no more.
keep that same energy. If you're in the SEC, Pac-10, whatever it is, like TCU, we're about to get into that next. They destroyed Iowa State, but
Yeah,
beat it as well. You are winning the game, play your schedule. But Ohio State to me has not looked good. At least past short games for sure, and this game as well.
yeah.
So I'm not 100% surprised what I saw, but I am. You know what? The biggest thing, my biggest takeaway with this is this JJ. He stepped up where he played a game which he has not played all year. They had him rattled, and he's like he figured it out, and then he stopped, and then this wasn't him. It's also Edwards, but that you got a passing game with a run. Deadly man. Like you don't know what the hell we're gonna do. He's gonna pass it, run it. They wore him out, man. So it was a good game. It's a really good game. Again, I'm not a long time Michigan fan, so I can't say this is. I've been waiting for this for years, type shit.
I would say this. Go ahead.
Nah, but for somebody that like I said, I'm watching it for the first year, man. I mean, Michigan is exciting, man. Like, it makes college football exciting. But this was just one of those games to me where I wish I was there in that mother environment. Boy, can you imagine the stands?
Oh man, trust me. Oh, I already know. Damn, it would have been an earthquake.
Yeah, because it was like, even when you knew the game was over, you're like, okay, Michigan got this. It was just like it still was like I gotta watch it.
Yeah. Oh, got another touchdown.
Yeah, must see TV. So this was the game. I don't know. We'll talk. I know we'll talk about this at some point. I just don't. I don't personally think. I said this before. I don't think his game translates to the NFL at all. I don't think he's going. I don't think it is. I don't think it does. I just from what the eye test. It's for me, and I'm watching him this year. The numbers are there, the stats are there, but like translate to NFL. No, I don't think he's going to translate, but he will be a top pick. Because of what his body of work over the years. But we'll get to that during draft and all that. But I don't think he is going to translate to NFL as great as most people think. Hey, unless he changes his game or he gets maybe the right team, right coach, we'll see. But NFL, nah, man, hell of a game. Hell of a game, man. I know you're not on here. You're the main one. That was the main one. Killing my business. Every week, Jeff gave me pushback. Yeah, this ain't happening. Oh yeah, schedule week. We beat Ohio State.
They beat Ohio State. He got a strong schedule now.
Yeah, we come.
I give you that one, man. But that was a good game. That was a good ass kicking. That's what that was.
Yeah. One spot, get ready.
You know what? Me personally, if I was a voter, I would give Michigan number one spot.
I wouldn't do that. Nah,
I would. The only reason why I say that is because of their wins. If you look at Georgia, our only win is against Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's the only big at the time when Tennessee was ranked number one, we beat them. We were ranked number 2 or 3, and we beat Tennessee. They were ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So, and then we jumped number 1. So, rightfully so. I would just give it to Michigan has a better resume. They beat Penn State and they beat Ohio State. Both teams were ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
Right? Both of them ranked. Just say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe they do too. But from what you and Jeff have been talking about with the ACC is inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's just inconsistent, and you know what? I like the underdog. I like the gradual build. Like I want to see y'all in the championship, and then we can take the number one spot. Like get all that. Let's just do the slow build. That's okay. They kept
let's pump our brakes a little bit.
I like this because they've been disrespecting Michigan all year. And they keep us at 3. Ohio State, man, we should have been number 2. That's okay. Let's do this slow build, and then once we get to the next step, it's about baby step. That's cool. I'd rather stay number 2. As long as we get to number 2, I'm good with that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this on TCU. Iowa State. TCU did their thing, and they did not sleepwalk this one. I think TCU heard enough. Everybody saying they playing with fire. TCU said, "All right, well, we're gonna just burn the house down," and that's what they did. No, they sent Iowa. They sent Iowa State packing. They said, "All right, you're here. Go home." I get congratulations TCU, 12-0 after Sonny Dykes' first year as their head coach. First year head coach taking them to the most likely they're gonna be in the playoffs. This is first year. Sonny Dykes is first year head coach for the school. He's been a head coach at I think SMU and some other schools, but he's his first year coaching for the TCU on Horned Frogs and magical year. So you can't really knock them forward. I got to give it to TCU, man. Congratulations. And at this point, they're in. I know I was saying that if they lose in their championship, they're out. But after what they just did with Iowa State, I think they pretty much just solidified themselves like, hey, we deserve to be in the playoffs. Now, who they play in the playoffs is going to be a big question.
Yeah.
It just all depends on how it gets. It depends on how everybody finishes out this last conference game. So it just all depends, man. So hopefully, it be if TCU got to play against Michigan, I'm sorry. TCU's going to get it's going to be a long one. Like they'll keep up with y'all until the second quarter or third quarter, but it'll get pulled away because they just don't. Unfortunately, man, TCU doesn't have the same depth as these other big schools because USC is going to be in there. USC is going to be in the top 4. Yeah. It's going to be Georgia 1, Michigan 2. TCU 3, and then USC 4. That's where it's going to be at. And if TCU has to play Michigan has the depth. We see it. We just saw it. And TCU, they give up a ton of points. Michigan doesn't give up a ton of points. It's going to be a battle. But we'll get to that day when it comes. But congratulations, TCU. You did your thing. All right, the game I really want to talk about this. LSU got embarrassed to Texas A&M. And I called this one. I knew it. I knew it was going to be an upset, man. Texas A&M has lost 7 games before this game.
The record's not pretty. I know that.
They've won only 4 games, and the only 4 they won was just some 2 cupcake teams, UMass, and I forgot who else that cupcake team was. And then they beat, I can't forget what they beat LSU, but still Texas A&M. They were in a dumpster fire, and the way they came out and the way they did their thing, man, I don't know if you got to really did you get to watch it?
No, I didn't watch this one.
Look, I was plugged in this game. That running back, and I know I'm about to damage his name, but see if I can pull it up real quick for Texas. A-Chain, 38 carries, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns.
38 carries.
38 carries.
That's an NFL. 38 carries.
Well, he has the opportunity to go to the NFL. If he want to go to the NFL this year, he just solidified himself.
38 carries.
38 carries. This man had 38 carries, 250 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. They ran his ass up and down that damn thing. And then Moose Muhammad III, man, sleeping on him. That one catch that he did with the one hand with the receiver still holding him, man. Texas A&M embarrassed LSU. LSU made Texas A&M look like they were the number 3 team in the country.
But okay, so I've always thought LSU would come far. Like that 5. But it's
and then you remember And you remember I said LSU should not be ranked where they at. LSU should not have been ranked no number. I forgot what was the first playoff rankings came out. I think they were like ranked number 8 or 9. They should not have been ranked that high.
Oh,
I
no,
don't care.
yeah, 'cause I remember you talked about it, and I remember when I watched. See, I watched last week or the week before, but it was one of those games where I watched LSU, and I'm just like, I don't know why they rank so high. But again, you see, bias, the allure of LSU, like they should be 5 anyway, So yeah, it's to me,
When the first playoff rankings came out, they had them guys at ranked number 8. And I was like, LSU should not be ranked that high. They have not proven nothing. They got their ass kicked by Florida State. You see what Florida State did to Florida. Florida State has beaten 2 SEC teams, 2 strong SEC teams, and embarrassed some teams. Well, I ain't gonna say, they didn't embarrass. They didn't embarrass LSU, but they did beat up on Florida pretty good. But still, LSU. I mean, for them to be ranked that high, in my opinion, to be ranked that high, that means you had some good wins and not bad losses. Like to lose to like the number 1 team, like all right, today, and then they got their doors blown off when they played against Tennessee. Tennessee came in and hung up 40 points on them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, so your 2 losses were two ranked teams. Florida State wasn't even ranked at the time when Florida State beat LSU. All right, and then Tennessee was ranked number 8 going in there and beat up on LSU. So the only thing that they gave LSU is they put LSU at number 8 because they beat Ole Miss, who we see is trash, and they beat Alabama, who everybody has had their way with Alabama. And then they struggled with Arkansas, 13-10 at Arkansas. You see what I'm saying? And then get embarrassed by Texas A&M. They should never have been ranked that high. They should have been ranked no more than 11 when the first playoff rankings came out. Make them earn that. But don't. Now you got to drop them back. LSU shouldn't have been ranked that high. But shout out to Texas A&M. Shout out to Jimbo Fisher for somehow getting the wagon circle back around. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Evan Stewart and Moose Muhammad. If Moose Muhammad returns, and Texas A&M can finally do something right, because they just fired their offensive coordinator, so that just means going to be more people getting canned and get sent to the grave. But for Brian Kelly and his LSU Tigers, they're still a good team. Harold Perkins is good, but I just think now they got to play against Georgia, who did their part against Georgia Tech, set down all their starters. And look where they're going to be at. So now you got to go against Georgia, where the question is Jaden Daniels, is he healthy? Like Jaden Daniels all year round has been that's all he's been doing is running. He's been more of a mobile quarterback than a passing quarterback. So it's just really one of those situations. It's like, all right, what's the turnout's going to be? Because I know LSU's going to come and play. LSU's always going to be able to recruit talent, because Louisiana's producing talented football players down there. So LSU, if they can't get other players from like across the country, they can always go in their backyard and just pick who they need. And these young kids they want to play for LSU. Like they have that pride to want to play for the LSU Tigers out there, so they can get their recruits. It's just, man, now you got to go play Georgia after that brutal game that you went to the wire. You shouldn't have been playing that long. You should have been sitting your starters down. Now you done beat up and sore, and now you got to go back and play another physical team who's way more physical than Texas A&M. This is the one thing I hate about these rankings and these playoff committees, man. That's why I say there is a lot of bias when it comes to these playoff committees, man. There's bias for the SEC, there's bias for the Big Ten, and there's bias for the ACC. Because here's another example. We'll get to them, but it's Clemson. That's another example.
Yeah.
Another damn example. But Texas A&M did their thing. Like I said, Moose Muhammad and A-Chain had their way, catching them passes like it wasn't nothing. Like LSU couldn't do nothing. Their secondary could not. Like their secondary was just getting manhandled. And now you got to go. Like I said, you got to play against Georgia, who loves to use their tight ends. This is not going to be a good one. They're going to come. They're going to come and play. This game might get out of hand. If not soon, in that third quarter, it's going to get out of hand. Because Kirby Smart's been playing conservative these last 3 games. I don't know if anybody's been watching, but it's been very conservative. Very conservative.
I know. Listen to you. Sure. You was a conservative, boy.
It's been conservative. I mean, that's all it is. He's not really doing it's vanilla.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
the offense is very questionable. I will say the offense is getting very questionable, but we'll see. But again, congratulations to Texas A&M, and you know for LSU, we'll see what you're going to have to do. USC versus the Notre Dame. Caleb Williams had his day. Caleb
He got
Williams has solidified himself as the Heisman front runner at this point.
yes, he has. Yes. Mr.
I
Heisman
don't
himself.
know. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I
You
say,
know, man, I'll be honest with you. I didn't, and I had to look up. You know what? Because I wanted to look him up. I
mm-hmm.
really haven't followed him. But yeah, when you look at his stats, definitely that egg that by C.J. Stroud and Drake Mays. Hooker is not there no more. He's out
Mm-hmm.
for the season. Stetson Bennett's Um,
Yeah.
there was one more guy, but I don't remember him. It didn't matter.
mm-hmm.
Look, this game's it solidified it, man. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he had him. He had him a game, and then it's not like he was. I mean, well, I want to get your opinion. Notre Dame, I know they're it's a ranked team, so I mean, you're not like you wasn't playing a non-ranked team that was taking up odds. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you say Notre Dame was respectable? Like that's the type of game right there, or where because I know CJ because basically when CJ had that he pretty much because he handed the damn the Heisman to him, but he still had to perform. Caleb had to
Yeah.
perform. But Notre
Yeah.
Dame, like you have looked at them as like respectable. Like okay, if I play well, if let's just say he played okay, would he have won the Heisman, or he had to play this way against Notre Dame?
He still would have had a. I'm not gonna say. So I'm not gonna say he would have won it, but he still would have put himself in the driver's seat. He would have kept
Okay,
himself in the driver's seat because Notre Dame isn't this year. Notre Dame. I mean, we see they. All right, so you take that one loss to Ohio State. Okay, fine, we eat that one. But to lose to Marshall of everybody, and then after losing to Marshall, then you lose to damn Stanford, who their coach just recently resigned. It's kind of like it was one of those situations where Notre Dame wasn't consistent enough to stay relevant. Like if the only loss Notre Dame had coming into the season was Ohio State getting into this USC game, then Notre Dame would have been considered a very good, legitimate threat to USC. And a lot of people were picking Notre Dame to beat USC because of the way Notre Dame plays. Like Notre Dame plays a very tight window coverage. They'll run. They just like Michigan. They'll run it all up down your throat. And the reason being is they don't have a JJ McCarthy like Michigan does. So they have no choice but to run the ball. And there was evidence in this game. Notre Dame is getting down the field. They got opportunities like third downs, like 3rd and 8. They got opportunity, to get this game back into winning opportunity. And what does he do? He throws an interception. Another time, they had another opportunity. What does he do? He overthrows the ball. It's just he's not the guy that he's not the quarterback for Notre Dame, man. Marcus Freeman knows it. He knows what he has. He knows he's working with. He knows that young man isn't the quarterback that they need, but he's the best quarterback that they have. If you look at this game, 27-38, there wasn't no blowout. I can promise you, it wasn't like USC had their way. I mean, they were in a tight fight with Notre Dame. It's just that USC was able to slow down Notre Dame's run game, force some turnovers, and then the game just got out of hand. And that's just simple what happened. So Caleb Williams, look at it. Like the guy had Drew Pine for Notre Dame 318 yards passing.
I'm saying he wasn't even the leader. So,
That's what I'm saying. 318 yards and that interception. 3 touchdowns.
yeah.
So this game was like USC could have easily lost this game, and USC is going to be in the playoffs. But here's another scenario. What this I've been trying to tell people about Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley has a very gadget and computer whiz offense.
Yeah.
You get into the playoffs where you play some teams that it's a defense first, If USC has to play Michigan, trust me, everybody's taking Michigan by 10 points.
Yeah.
Easy. See, so it's one thing if they make Georgia and Michigan play each other first. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're gonna have a big defensive slugfest. And then you have USC versus TCU. Well, USC will beat TCU.
Yeah.
But if you start having a USC versus Michigan and a TCU versus Georgia, you're gonna have a Georgia versus Michigan in national championship. So me personally, I just think it still was it's still a good game. I'm not taking that from Caleb Williams. I just think the quarterback that they had, he just made too many mistakes. Like when they started really trying to stretch it down the field, they started doing some more gadget offense. They started trying to get it real good. Started really rolling. He started making mistakes, and that interception was what really hurt Notre Dame on that one. And I remember watching. I was like, man, and the problem was Notre Dame's defense was just gas. And I was telling the one of the guys I was watching it at my wife's cousin. She had a little party going on for her birthday. We was there watching the game, and I was telling her, my wife's cousin, I was like, look, your defense can't stop the offense. They're gas. They're tired. It keeps us 3 and out. It's just done. And then they just kept pouring it on. Caleb Williams started getting elusive because Caleb Williams didn't hang up no pretty he only did 232 yards. He was just 18 for 22.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like that. Yeah. Well, I looked at the stats. It wasn't really like one of those. Like, yeah, I'm taking this Heisman. It was like, CJ gave it to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it was just that's what I say. Like Caleb Williams, at this point, he's in the driver's seat. He can't drop this. He drops his ball against Utah, which remember Utah beat USC.
Yeah.
And this feels like another situation where Oregon lost to USC in the regular season, and then not USC. Oregon lost to Utah in the regular season last year, and then had to play Utah again in the conference championship, and then lost again to Utah. So that's what this feels like now. This feels like Utah's going to play USC, and they're going to beat USC again. It's crazy. But again, congratulations, Caleb Williams. You pretty much almost got he pretty much has himself in the driver's seat.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't need to do what a CJ Stroud just did, and he's in there.
That bad boy control, man.
Yep. Alabama in the Iron Bowl. Shout out to Caleb Williams for doing his part as an interim head coach. Getting them, some, decent little last 3 wins or 4 wins in their last of the month. But we'll get to that the coaching hire for Auburn. But this one, I think everybody knew Alabama was going to win it. It just wasn't going to be a fair game.
343. Yeah, the game.
Yeah, the game was actually over a long time ago. It was Alabama. I think Alabama was up like 21-3 one time in the game. The game was done. Bryce Young, look at that, 343 yards. That's just crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I'll have to click the stats. I can play up 343 Bryce. Get in here. This game was over.
Yeah, that game was over. South Carolina beating up on Clemson in Clemson. Hey, that was a good game because see, my family, they're Gamecock fans and they're Clemson fans, so they're divided. And they're definitely divided right now. They're not even sister and brothers not talking. Yeah. Mothers and sons ain't talking. It's divided. Like shout out to South Carolina, man. It beat Tennessee the week before and turned right around and beat Clemson the same way. One thing I will say is if Clemson had a better quarterback, would this have been the outcome of the game? That's my big question. Because CJ Stroud was 8 for 29, 99 yards, 3.4 yards. This man had a 27.6 QBR rating.
Yeah.
DJ needs to go to DJ Uiagalelei. He needs to go to the transfer portal. Oh, wow. He needs to leave. He's not meant for that offense. He's not meant for Clemson. He's talented. He's a good quarterback. He needs a fresh start somewhere else. He needs to go. He needs a transfer portal to get the hell on.
Hey man, rather been balling these last couple games.
Hey, I'm 25, 39, 360 yards, 9.2. But but this is what I'm saying. But look, he had 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. That's what I'm saying. If Clemson had, all our Creative Notice podcast followers, answer this question. If Clemson had a quarterback, would Clemson have lost this game? Y'all let us know down at the bottom. Let us know in the comments. I'm saying no. Clemson would never have lost this game. Clemson would have won.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler did look good, but DJ, what, 8 for 29? And they didn't even put the backup in because he's trash.
Yeah.
8 for 29, 99 yards.
So that ranking was generous.
Here's another example. Why are we ranking these guys? Why are we putting these teams that we see their body of work all year round? Why are we ranking them so high? That's my thing. Like we have seen their body of work. Why are we ranking them so high? Like why? Like why are they ranked that damn high going into coming off these playoff rankings? Like why? Now you got to drop them again. Just drop them from the beginning.
I think it even make it more exciting. I understand the SEC. I understand more. Oh wait a minute, Clemson what?
ACC.
ACC, my bad.
Yeah.
But I understand those teams, but I don't know. Like just the 9, like TCU was one of those stories this year. Like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you see a team that's better than the team, I mean, Clemson to me, it's like LSU, another fraud. They should be in the top 10.
Yeah.
If you want to base it off game to game, no, they're not top 10.
Yeah.
There are teams that with 2 or 3 games losing records that I would put over.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Man, keep the conversation going. I tell you that they know how to keep this shit going.
Yeah, like as I say, Clemson should never been ranked where they at. LSU should never been put where they at. You just, but they did it, okay. But when it came for Oregon, USC, all these other teams, they didn't rank them high.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They didn't rank them high at all. Hell, it took TCU a while to get to where they were at for number 4.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I just, man, me and the person here, like Alabama, they got Alabama ranked number 7. They're giving these schools these rankings because of what they did in the past, because of the championships that they won, because of who they got, Dabo Swinney, because of what they did. Brian Kelly, if Brian Kelly wasn't there, LSU wouldn't be ranked at number 5 or even coming in at number 8 when the first playoff rankings came out. LSU would have been easy 15. Same thing with Clemson, easy 15 to 12. It's because of what they did. It's because of what they've done in the past. Alabama has 7 national championships under Nick Saban. Clemson has 2 under Dabo, none under Brian Kelly, but they recently won one in 2019. So, they still got the talent. We're talking about the body of work right now. We're talking about what are they doing now? Like, how are they looking now?
I don't think you feel like that these ranking, whoever's doing these rankings, coach poll and AP poll, but
they're
kind of being lazy. And they're not really like it's good. Like you said, they're calling off what they did in the past and because of the school. Hey, I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised some of these schools have another effort in their back pocket. It might be doing something on the side, like, hey man, look, we'll give you back end payment or something. Because I don't know, man. Some of these, like you said, some of these teams, Alabama, Clemson, USC. There's another team too. I don't think they should be in the top 10. I don't feel like they're watching. I don't know. It just seems like they're being a little lazy. Like, are they really watching the games, or they are? They're just watching the main teams everybody wants to see, and then they're expected to perform. But if they don't perform, then they should be in the rank or definitely not top 10.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. And then real quick, so Oregon at Oregon State lost 38-34. And you know what's crazy? I forgot to pull this up, but Oregon was winning 31-10.
Yeah, they was up.
Third quarter.
Yeah, it was up. It was up.
In the third quarter, and Oregon State came back and answered 28 unanswered points.
I caught a little bit of the game. I guess. I don't know, man. Well, it seemed like Oregon State they adjusted the game plan.
Yeah.
Like Oregon, they got the defense like that. They got a little sloppy too. What I saw it was a sloppy defense. Obviously, if you're up, you know football. You don't have to look at the score. You kind of like, okay, but actually watching the game, from that, I watched it for 2 quarters. I felt like it was just more sloppy defense. Got gas or got cocky or I don't know. This game should have been over because it was over. It was over.
That and then poor coaching calls, like Dan Mullen going for it on his own 20. I think it was like 28, 29-yard line. Like you're already up.
Yeah.
Why are you going for it? Like that, you know what that was? Like they noticed Oregon State started getting momentum. And instead of just sticking to their true game plan, they got scared. And they started making poor choices and play calls, poor just play calling, just going for it on your own. Go like, come on, man. Have some trust in your defense. Yes, they're tired, but look, man. For one, this is the game they got the opportunity to, go to the Pac-12 championship. So that was out the window for them. So, and Bo Nix, he's injured, so he really couldn't do anything. I mean, he put up some good yards, 327 yards in the air. He did his thing. Bo Nix did his part. Any other time, there's a lot of times that people point fingers at Bo Nix and be like, man, you cost us this game, but 27, 41, 327 yards, 8 yards. He's averaged 8 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's good. You can't ask for no more than that. I mean, hell, the quarterback for Oregon State was 6 for 13, 60 yards. So the defense,
it did.
The defense gave up. The defense for Oregon gave up, and then the offense got very nervous and started making some very poor decisions when it came to play calling. Everybody got conservative, got scared. I think it was like a good special teams play on that one as well. It's just, man, to be up 31-10, it's just, here's another thing they say about the Atlanta Falcons against the Patriots going into the second half, 28-3. And then coming out in the third quarter, 28-3 was like 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and we still lost that game.
Yeah, I really should have won that Super Bowl. That was a clinic. Like, the guys dominated.
Yeah.
I mean, but getting, you know what? I think people underestimate that because these are super freak athletes. The human body doesn't. I don't care. Strongest builder, whatever you are, at some point, you are doing something at the same time for an extensive amount of time. Body's tired and not a good. And then once you know how it is, you get tired, focus, concentration, you miss assignments, you're supposed to be here, you start yelling at each other, are you coming together as a team? Well, then you make this happen, and the whole class is finished. Shit starts rolling downhill. Then all of a sudden, momentum starts to happen, and then they got your number. Like, oh, okay, we see what you guys are doing. I saw about this again, watching. Like, I love sports. Watching sport from a sports perspective, just like that Michigan game, Michigan-Ohio game, just saw the tide turn. Defense, I guess. And then bad coaching.
Yeah.
Should have had that game.
Yeah. And then to finish off, you had a few games. Tennessee dismantled Vanderbilt 56-0. Tennessee bounced back very well after they lost. So Tennessee should be in a decent bowl game. They should. We'll see.
I want to talk about but is Penn State gone under the radar?
Penn State, and I was glad we getting ready to get to them. Penn State is something I feel as depending on how they do in their bowl game and who they play in their bowl game. If they win their bowl game, they win their bowl game soundly. Penn State is brewing something very dangerous in that Big Ten, and Ohio State needs to be real concerned. Michigan not so much, but Ohio State will, because the only two losses Penn State has is to Michigan and Ohio State. These two teams are in the top 4. Penn State is a good ass team. Penn State manhandled Michigan State. Manhandled them. I don't care what nobody say. The score doesn't look like it, but I watched some of that game. They manhandled Michigan State.
And that's why I wanted to ask you your opinion, because I watched the game, a little bit of the game. Well, not a little bit, a lot of the game, honestly. But what I saw, and what I've been noticing all year, too, for Penn State, is that the Michigan State, when we played them, we struggled. It wasn't like a dominant performance when Michigan played Michigan State. But we just didn't dominate them like Penn State did. But this is a team that I talk about should be in the top 10. I think
they definitely will be now.
Yeah, they better. They got to be. But that's why I want to. I'm like, I think this is one of those teams that's kind of flying under the radar.
Yeah,
they just kind of doing their thing, but they flying under the radar. I think they definitely should be in the top 10. A little bit more respect.
Yeah. That'll be I would like to see a Penn State play against Alabama.
Yeah,
that'll be a one I would like to see in a bowl game. They get a Penn State and Alabama playing against each other. Oh man, that'll be a good one. That right there to let you know if Penn State is definitely where they should be at. If they can beat Alabama. If they can beat Alabama. But that was a good game, like I said. That was good. Kansas State did their part against Kansas. So Kansas State they're going to be going against TCU for the Big 12 championship. That's going to be a good one. I think that right there we'll definitely know a lot about TCU in this game when they had to play Kansas State again, because they already beat Kansas State. I think Kansas State beat TCU. No, TCU beat Kansas State. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm tripping. I'm thinking about somebody else, but yeah. So this will be a rematch. I don't think Kansas State is going to beat TCU. Unfortunately, I just don't see it. I think TCU is going to finish 13-0 at the end of the season. That's just my pick, but who knows? I might be wrong. You never know. It's always upset season. Washington beat Washington State. Washington's another good team for that Pac-12.
I'm about to say that too. Yeah.
Washington's. Oh yeah, Michael Penix, and he transferred from Indiana.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm surprised his name isn't swirling around for the Heisman. But he's good. Utah beat Colorado. The teams that should have won: UCF beat South Florida. Kentucky beat Louisville. And that's pretty much that, man. I don't think there's really too much else that was going on. Yeah, the rest of the games were just boring. Yeah, it was nothing. Miami got embarrassed by Pitt. Look, I'm going to just say this. Let's leave it alone. I know everybody say, when Jeff was on here, Miami was the greatest, and blah, blah, blah. None of that matters in today's society, man. What Miami did then has nothing of what's going on now. Miami is in a very dark place. That's all I got to tell you right now. They're in a dark place.
Man.
That was good, man. College football weekend was good.
It was. Like I said, this was one of those first times where I watched my NFL. A lot of fun.